would like to invite our next speaker, Ismat Zareen. Welcome, Ma'am Ismat Zareen. Ma'am,
Thank you
I
very
would
much.
like to give an introduction. You have a very impressive introduction, so I don't want to miss that. Ismat Zareen ji is currently teaching at the Department of English, University of Asia Pacific, Green Road, Dhaka, Bangladesh, as an assistant professor. She has been awarded the Inspiring Green Educator Award 2018 by the United Nations at the second Green School Conference in association with New York Climate Week held at the Wall Street, New York, USA, a side event of the UN General Assembly 2018. The award was bestowed upon her to recognize her significant contribution in education through innovation and in climate change realities in Bangladesh. She has also received Nobel Asian Educator Award 2020 by the International Society of Teachers, Administrators, and Researchers on December 2020 for her outstanding contribution in research and education in her home country and Asia. She is also awarded Guru Upanishad Samman by Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research, India, for her contribution in education on December 13, 2020. I welcome you, Ma'am Ismat Zareen, to give your presentation. Your screen is already shared. So, ma'am, welcome. You can start your presentation. Everyone is eagerly waiting for that.
Thank you very much, ma'am, Jyoti ma'am, for introducing me so nicely. And I'm really glad to be here for this particular program. And I hope you are properly visible to you all, and you and also audible to you. So my topic for today is hybridizing EFL online teaching through collaborative projects, which is my like a baby to me, and this is a project that I have been working for quite a while since the pandemic started in 2019 in the beginning. I'm really glad to be here in this faculty development program, and which I think is a wonderful initiative, and it's a collaboration among all these organizations, of course, International Institute of Research and Studies, and Cape Camerarium Trust, and also Lavender Literary Club. So thank you, and I welcome you all to my session. So of course, the code word in the beginning to introduce today is hybridizing. And I think hybridizing, the word itself, has come to us as a brainchild due to the pandemic, because we now need to innovate and hybridize the existing teaching pedagogical practices, and also the researchers are well concerned in hybridizing the teaching practices. So my concern, since I belong to the Department of English, my concern in this particular session today is teaching English as a foreign language. And of course, as we all know, that we, the EFL teachers, have been going through a lot of issues regarding teaching online since the pandemic started, like any other stream teachers. So I would like to talk about how we can introduce collaborative projects to enhance the productivity of EFL teaching online. And of course, we all know that collaboration is always a good thing to start with, because collaboration creates more opportunities for all of us. Whether we are a faculty member, or we are dealing with the students. So my project is about how we can ensure collaboration among our students even when we are teaching online, when we are not facing the students face to face, rather than we are facing them online. So the first question that comes to your mind is why we should focus on collaborative projects. So I have just looked into quite a few researches and, of course, studies. So the importance of collaboration in writing, I mean, in teaching writing is very important, and which is what I'm going to focus on today, how we can focus on teaching writing skill to the EFL learners through collaborative projects. And that is my focus today. So, in second language teaching and learning, collaborative writing actually have been proven as has been proven as a wonderful technique, and it has got certain research studies which I'm going to focus on first. So, Shahida in 2011 points out that collaborative work has been very popular worldwide in language classrooms with over the last 2 decades. But of course, he was talking about face-to-face classes, which I'm going to try and apply. I wanted to apply in online sessions and when we are teaching EFL writing to the students. So Lee and Zhu also have mentioned how the teachers and researchers are nowadays very much attracted to the idea of collaboration in a second language teaching and learning. And of course, the positive outcomes of teaching writing in a collaborative manner is not only about the learners' current language learning, but it also has got benefits which can go beyond simple classroom collaboration, because collaboration is not only about classrooms, it's also about going beyond that, and also how we can focus on that through our real life situations. So I think in this during this pandemic situation, it's more about collaboration when we are teaching and learning, when we are dealing with the students, rather than just going for online classes. So my research project goes beyond classroom as well. um, so Wigglesworth and Storch also highlight how collaborative writing actually can provide learners with experience they need for the future education or for this workspace. Now, obviously, we all know that we are moving into a future which is quite a little bit uncertain, and which is we don't know how far we have to go till the pandemic ends. So we need to prepare our learners for whatever platform they are in. And even if they are in online platform, or I mean, obviously they are going to face the whole world, which is a demand of today. Like if you are in the workspace, and of course, if you are connected to any particular organization, you need to face the whole world, because we are not dealing with only one particular reality. Now we are dealing with multiple realities, because the whole world comes together when it comes to work nowadays, because we are connected to online, and these online activities are so interactive and of course productive, that we need to prepare our learners for the future, for their future workspace. So many research projects, as I told you, as I just began, I told you that there are a lot of research projects have been going on and been conducted regarding like collaborative writing, which emphasize its significance in language learning. And I just have mentioned quite a few of the researchers here, like Batson and Ellis, and of course Garcia Mayo, Lantelf in 2000, and Kristen Kumbe and Shahida. They worked on these collaborative writing projects. So my research project is basically based on all these research studies. Also, Swain worked on collaborative projects which can mediate, according to him, construction of linguistic knowledge. And it's also about, how when we teach collaborative writing to students, like where they are involved as a group, I think it actually, as mentioned by Quicken and Vedder and also Bruffy, everyone talks about like awareness raising activity and understanding the intended audience by the learners. So everything works for the betterment of the learners in a very subtle way. It's not always direct, rather it's more of like a indirect action, and it's something that we cannot see visibly in the beginning. But if we initiate such projects, as I will just show you now, which I got results from my students, I think this actually portrays how we can we can prepare our students in a much more subtle way, which in the long run lets us have wonderful results. Now, I will discuss quite a few important points here, which are like, why should we bring, obviously you might, as audience, you might ask me questions, why should we bring collaborative adaptation projects into EFL, in teaching EFL online? So the first, point that I would like to talk about is active learning. So when we bring collaboration among students, like when we design projects where students have to work as a collaborative group, active learning plays a very important role, because without being active you cannot work with a group. So this actually initiates and advances active learning situations. And number two is peer teaching and learning is very important when we are working on writing. Now, if we are just teaching writing, we know that this is quite a passive skill, which needs a lot of support from our from our teachers. But if we can initiate peer teaching learning environment in our online classrooms, that actually creates a lot of efforts in part of the teacher, as well as investments come from the peers when students are working as peers. So this is the second point. And the third one is like, if we go for a project approach, like if we go project by project for certain teaching activities, that actually creates a kind of interest which is unmatchable with regular classroom situations. Um, Fourth point I would like to talk about is autonomous learning. So when we are like putting our students in a group, I think the most important finding that I found from my research project is autonomous learning. The students actually, when they work in a group, they share and learn in the online platforms. And nowadays we have so many, apart from the classroom situations online, we do have students working and collaborating in different platforms where social media is connected, like Messenger, WhatsApp groups are there for the students, and then of course Viber groups, obviously, and then also LMS learning modules are always there. So autonomous learning is a part because students get to know so much from their peers. There is automatically they learn how to work on their own, and autonomous learning is initiated in the very onset of creating online collaboration projects. Next one I would like to talk about is critical thinking skills. Now, critical thinking skills, as we all, I will obviously discuss this one in a little bit more detail towards the end. But then again, critical thinking skills, of course, like reflecting our own weakness on our weaknesses, and in part of the students,
Please
and
speak
like,
slow.
yes, I'm sorry.
Ma'am, may I interrupt you for a minute?
Yeah,
Could you
sure.
please change the slides? The slides are not being changed. So
Oh, I'm
uh,
changing the slides. Aren't they visible?
just now, the slide has changed. Earlier, only the first slide was
Uh,
visible.
I changed it earlier. Okay, okay. I hope it's working now, right? Okay.
Now it's working. You are
Uh,
on the second slide, ma'am.
yeah, I'm on the second slide. Yeah, I was on the second slide, and I am right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the information. Okay. Yeah. So the next one that I was just I would like to talk about, obviously, the one that I was talking about is critical thinking skill. So now, critical thinking skill means when our students learn to think critically. When they learn to reflect on their own activities, and when they learn to share their understanding among each other, being really open towards feedback, and of course developing their own skills, going to the next step. So when we put our students in collaborative groups for teaching, English as a foreign language, the good thing that happens is that students learn to reflect, and they learn to, when obviously they are collaborating, they share a lot of content in terms of their I mean, for the purpose of their activities and projects. So obviously, critical thinking skills also get initiated. The next one that works in collaborative adaptation projects that I will show you, when I talk about my project, is that the students learn to have an empathy for the other cultures. I mean, obviously, when we are putting a lot of students coming from different backgrounds, different cultural situations, they learn how to interact, and obviously, with the help of the teacher, they learn to respect other cultures and appreciate other cultures. And also, there is a kind of empathy grow among the group members, and that actually, in the long run, creates and of course promotes intercultural awareness for the ESL learners, which is very, very a topic on vogue right now, where we are focusing on intercultural awareness, which actually contributes in successful ESL learning. And next one is about creativity. Now, obviously, creativity needs a lot of boosting from from our peers, and of course from other people. So when we put our students in collaborative projects, the students get to know about others, ways. Not only did they know their own ways of writing, rather they know from other students how they are working on their projects. And when they work as peers, the creativity in them, in a way, gets boosted, because sharing makes us to think even more, even better. And that's how creativity is important in enhancing the writing skill for learners. And the next one is obviously group activities. Obviously, when we're putting in the students in collaborative adaptation projects, we are putting the students in, in different groups, and they work into activities through collaboration and a group. So that actually initiates learning, obviously. And when we an additional, betterment that actually the students go through is developing the speaking skill. Obviously, when they are learning how to write in a peer group collaboration project, and this is a byproduct, I would say. And this actually has another important thing, which is, like, obviously they are getting an environment where they get a meaningful situation where they actually develop their speaking skill. So these are these are the rationale behind my research project, and which is what I'm going to share with you all. And okay, so all right. So I think I would now go a little bit into, of course, my rationale behind adaptation projects. So I wanted to bring adaptation into this project, because adaptation actually, of course, is like when we are teaching writing. If we make the students learn how to adapt texts, so that actually gives them a purpose to work in a collaboration project. So what I did with my students in the year 2019 is that I put them into a project where they did adaptation of different texts, like authentic materials, like newspapers, or plays which have been written, or videos. So there are like adaptation in different forms. It's not only in written form, but also there were other activities which were involved with the adaptation. So, for example, I gave the students a stage play, and they were adapting the whole play into a write-up, or maybe they did the vice versa, like the opposite thing. or obviously getting news clips from online and of course adapting them to a written news report, for example, or taking a film clip and converting it into a written scene. So there were certain activities that they did in my project, and then obviously they were put into groups and they were working on adaptive collaboration projects or collaborative projects, as I term it. Now, obviously, I have talked about why I brought this idea in online teaching, especially because obviously when we are teaching online, it's not about just only ensuring that students are in the classroom. Rather, it's the challenge that actually make us think in a different way. Because when the students are in online, maybe they are present in online classrooms, but then again, I mean, it's quite a difficult task to put them into action. And that's the reason why I brought this type of adaptive projects in teaching writing to the EFL learners. So the students through this kind of projects actually develop the skills of through adaptation, and there is a blending of the different skills, not only for writing, but as I told you, speaking skill also gets of course initiated. And also the students also learn the process of adapting a text. They also develop the ability to produce effective news reports for this specific one that I'm going to discuss. I'm not going to discuss all the projects that I did, but then again, I'm just going to kind of discuss only one with you all. So when I was dealing with the students, I wanted my students to learn these basic things in writing. I mean, the first one is how my motto was to teach them how to ensure coherence and cohesion in writing. ESL writing, of course. And the next one I wanted them to learn how to do sequencing in a writing. This is very important for the ESL learners to learn. And as I was dealing with university students, it was important for me to ensure that they learn cohesion and coherence and sequencing in writing, because at this point of time, the students must know how to produce a write-up with the coherence and cohesion, and of course sequencing in action. And obviously conceptualizing in writing for EFL learners is very important, because at this point, at this level, if they don't know how to conceptualize their own write-up, this actually creates more of like plagiarism among them, which is not expected from the university learners. And obviously we want our students to give valuable inputs to their to any topic that we want them to write about when they're writing. And so then obviously they are, since our university students are grown-up students and obviously mature students, we want them to give their valuable input to any topic that we want them to write about. So these are the challenges that we have at the university level when we're teaching EFL, and especially obviously online. And this is what my motto was when I was designing my research project. So what I did is I chose a news clip on climate change, or I chose COVID-19 related a pandemic and related issues, news clips, or social awareness issues, or equity related issues as a news clip, or cultural events. So I chose a different news clips for getting them engaged in collaborative projects. So my methodology obviously was action research. Since I was doing my research with my current students in the classroom, so it was action research. I followed mixed methods for my research. It is qualitative and quantitative both in the mixed format. My subjects were 30 tertiary level Bangladeshi EFL learners, and they were from a Bangladeshi university. Obviously, as you know, I'm working in a university, so I chose them. And the research tool obviously was television news items, or maybe sometimes I went for YouTube news items which were available from obviously television news. I used a questionnaire survey which had 20 items, and it was assessed on a Likert scale. So what I did, I mean, the process for my research was I made the subject watch and analyze a sample news item where I was working as a teacher researcher. I introduced the idea of writing news reports to them. First, I introduced them how you write a news report and what is the procedure, and they were watching a sample news item. And then again, subjects were divided into focus groups, which I did for them. I mean, and that was done obviously anonymously. And then I just sent them into breakout rooms, separate breakout rooms with different group members. And so the groups, I asked them to outline a plan for adapting a short story into a one-act play. So the short story can, of course, be also a news item. I mean, a story which is a real story, or maybe a sample story. And those groups actually outlined and they discussed and write about specific features of the characters in the first stage of the project. So in this particular scenario, I helped them as a teacher. I went into the different breakout rooms separately, and I helped the groups, and I let them flow with the whole situation. And of course they drafted their whole project, and the groups identified the conflict to be focused in the play. I wanted them to design a play which would be written and then, of course, be staged out of a short story or maybe a news item. So that was the procedure of my study. And I wanted the students to identify the protagonist and antagonists in a news item or a short story, and then they produced a short script for a play which I wanted them to write. So obviously writing activity was always there involved. But I just mentioned that you also need to act as well, so that it would be visible for the other groups, like what you have produced out of the material that I shared with you. And so the students actually, I mean, the subjects actually thought and discussed and planned the news report in the breakout rooms, that they wanted to make it as a report, or sometimes I made them write a play, as I told you. So it was different activities at different levels, not every day the same activity. Obviously I didn't want them to go for the same project, so they were put into different projects every 2 weeks. So this is how the research work went on. And I what I also did is, because it was a group work and collaborative research project, I always shared at different stages. I, as a teacher, collected and shared the production of each particular focus groups to other groups, so that they can give their feedback, and also they can talk about the other groups' production critically, and they can give their remarks, so that obviously the whole product at the end of the day gets finished and the students get the best output. And so this is how my research project went on. And finally, as the teacher researcher, I always gave the students my feedback, because the students were working on producing either a short play when they were writing, or they were writing news reports out of the materials that I gave them, or I mean, obviously adapting one news report into a short story. So these are the activities, I mean, these are the projects they were involved in, short projects. When collaboration was very, very important among the group members. And I always wanted them to edit at different layers, and I, as a teacher, also teacher researcher, also helped them to edit. And I also gave suggestions to them how they can make better write-ups, and obviously giving them different formats, and also giving them tips and suggestions, etc. So finally, I made the students to come up with an one-act play, maybe from one news item. And
Ma'am, can you
then,
please change your slides?
yeah, I have changed. Okay, let me, yeah, I don't know what is happening. Okay.
I think there's
uh
some
yeah,
net
I think,
issue.
yeah, I think it's a glitch, I think. Yeah, is it okay now? I think this is changing now. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, okay. Yeah. So I was so as I was talking about, like I always wanted them as my subjects to edit and re-edit, focusing on the whole activities that they did. I mean, in the project work, and each group was helping the other group. So vice versa, and thus the students finally came up with different one-act plays from news items or maybe like other activities. So there was this was fun for the students because they had to do they had to write but in different formats. So and every week, every 2 weeks they were working on different projects. So it actually turned out to be an interesting collaborative work for them. So let me show you a little bit of my one of my form that I wanted the students to fill up in the breakout room. For example, I hope you can see this one. So, for example, when I was introducing a news article, I was teaching them how to write for example, a news report. I wanted them to focus on such kind of um, uh, basics like headline or bylines or place lines or leads in a news report, how it works in the opening sections and all the body section of the whole news report, or facts about certain things in a news report, quotations. So this is one of the formats, for example, I'm just sharing with you that I gave the students, and I wanted the students to work on such kind of forms in the breakout room, and they worked on these and I gave feedback. So it was a research project that actually went for quite a while, and throughout the semester I actually did such kind of activities regarding teaching EFL writing to my students. And so yeah, this is one of the examples. um, so what I did is, after the submission of the project works by the students, the subjects actually filled a questionnaire with items where 3 items were open-ended and the rest were like close-ended. I asked certain questions regarding their experience in the collaborative projects and what they felt about the collaborative project, and how they were coping up with the whole situation, and whether they were taking it as a positive learning environment for EFL learning online. And then what I did is I assessed the questionnaire using SPSS method, and these are the let me show you a few sample project works. For example, I shared a sample news clip with them. Let me just show you. Let me just share this news clip with you all, I hope. Right. Right. I just hope you can see. Can you see the news clip, everyone? If you just, I hope, yeah, I can see that everyone can see the news clip. Let me just show you a little bit of the news clip. This is one of the projects that I did with my students based on this news clip. Okay, great. Thank you very much for confirming. Okay, all right.
Of an international team of scientists led by the UK Met Office, which raised profound questions about the future of the Earth's climate. The team says that a prolonged heatwave in the Siberian Arctic this year is unequivocal evidence of climate change, and that the record high temperatures in Siberia would be impossible without man-made global warming. Findings are of serious concern because here in the UK and the rest of Europe, the Arctic drives much of the weather that we experience. Our chief environment correspondent, Justin Rolat, has the story.
6 months of record-breaking temperatures have fueled massive forest fires in the Siberian Arctic this year. Great plumes of smoke were visible on satellite images last month. The red areas on this map show just how exceptional temperatures have been, more than 5 degrees above average across much of Siberia. That included the highest temperature ever recorded north of the Arctic.
All right, I'm not going into, showing the whole, I'm not going into the whole clip. I know that you guys are going to be bored a little bit, and that's why I'm just sharing a little bit. So this is one of the news report that I showed my students, and I shared with my students, and they worked on this news clip, and they were supposed to create news report in written form based on this particular news item, as you can see. So as you can see, from online events, the students learned how to, and also another activity that I did is like I went for on an online event, which was a webinar, and the students saw an online event and they had to write. This is another activity, of course. This is a webinar which was held in my university. So I asked my students to watch this whole event and prepare a news report based on that, which can just go for newspapers. So this is another sample activity, a sample project. So I'm just sharing a sample projects with you all so that you can understand how I worked with my students. And yeah, so I think you guys have got a very simple basic idea. Now this is the sample report produced by my subjects that I'm sharing with you all. I hope you guys can see it. This is a very basic report done by my students in the initial level, based on the online event that I was just talking about. It was a speech competition, and my students actually produced this report at the end of their project from one group I'm just sharing here. And yeah, so this is how my project worked, and I really found a lot of good feedbacks from my students who were really happy after the end. By the end of the semester, and gave me wonderful feedback. And I wanted you to all to, I just wanted to share with you all my success story, so that of course I obviously know that you guys are much more updated from updated, and you all know much better than me. But again, it is always good to share the best practices among the teaching community, and I think that's the best part of this faculty development program in here. So these are my references in here, and I just kind of wrote the references in here, and that's all I wanted to share with you all. And thank you very much for having me here, and of course enjoying the whole session. I just really hope that you guys enjoyed my session, and you will be taking something from this presentation home. So thank you very much. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm inviting questions. Let me see if there are any queries from our delegates. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand. It was a very informative session. People are congratulating you for a very informative session, ma'am. They are thanking you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the wonderful initiative, and of course, appreciation. Yeah.
Yes, everyone is thanking you. They are saying that it was a very enlightening session, and everything was crystal clear, and they have learned a lot from this session, how to make the teaching more effective, and how to introduce activities and make the learning process a pleasure for the students. I don't see any queries. It seems that everyone is totally satisfied by your presentation, and they are totally in sync with you, whatever you have taught. So thanks once again, Ismat Zarina ji. It was a pleasure having you with us today.